think so.
We are live with the Frame Master here at Arty. It looks great.
Are we back?
We're back.
We're back. All right, cool.
With a better frame this time.
Good stuff. Lighting looks good. See, it was worth investing in all this just for this. Little did I know when I spent a bunch of money on installing lights in my second bedroom that there would be an Arty Time podcast happening in here like 2.5 years later. Good stuff.
This room was solely set up for Arty Time. It cost Adam a lot of money, and it took him a long time to decorate it.
Yeah, it did.
What's with this painting behind me?
Well, which one? There's like 20 paintings behind you.
You know which one. The biggest one. the one that won't change.
The big one that I keep telling people is going to be ready next Arty Time and is never ready next Arty Time. I don't know. Maybe that can be an ongoing Arty Time gag, is like just for until we're like 80, have this behind us and be like, have you finished that painting on it? Nope.
It's nice to see all these big paintings, like big blank canvases.
Big blank canvases. Yeah, they're big potential paintings.
That's my favorite thing, is a blank canvas.
Yeah, one of my favorite things too. It really feel like it's full of potential. That's what it is. Like unwrapping a blank canvas, even though I know what it is, it's a better feeling than unwrapping like stuff under the Christmas tree. You know, when I was a kid, it's like the same kind of feeling.
I get that under the Christmas tree now.
Yeah, me too. I get canvas. I asked for blank canvas because right around like
Christmas tree now.
Yeah, me too. I get canvas. I asked for blank canvas because right around like Black Friday, those 2-for-1 deals that Michaels has on the big canvases. Mm-hmm. I tell my mom and dad, hit that up, hook me up for Christmas, then I get a few big canvases, and yeah, it's awesome.
No, I have to give them more of a narrative because they keep giving me the skinny ones, the pack of 25.
Yeah.
It's only good to practice.
No, I kind of actually, believe it or not, it was my mom that insisted I bump up to better quality canvases. I was getting the thin ones, the 3/4 inch, and I had been using the 3/4 inch canvases for a long time, and I kind of wanted to keep consistent with using them, and then my mom suggested I try painting on one of the bigger canvases. Well, I think she bought me some and put them under the Christmas tree. And I was like, oh, well, now they don't go with my other canvases, you know? Mm-hmm. But, you know, over time I've learned to love the gallery thickness canvas. I mean, I still paint on 3/4 inch canvases a lot of the time.
Yeah, show me the small ones you have here.
Yeah.
Can I show them off? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, these look nice when they're this size. You don't necessarily need the 2-inch.
Yeah.
They look great.
There is no 2-inch. It's 1.5 inch. We've been through this before in another episode.
Oh, they call it 2-inch on the thing?
No.
They don't?
No.
Profile
1.5.
It's funny that it's like on the front of all the canvases.
It's everywhere. It says it like 3 times in 3 different places on the packaging. 1.5.
And no matter how many canvases I buy.
And no matter how many, 1.5 in Germ's mind equals 2.
I round up. Just rounding up here.
So yeah, lately I've been having fun. Like I've been on a mandala madness little spell here since I got my job a couple of months ago. I haven't been painting as much. I haven't felt like the urgency as much to like be creating art, and I think I kind of just needed a little vacation. I've said it before, and it's the truth. But now I'm back into it, and like I painted 3 little mandalas in the last few weeks. Painted a little 6-inch guy, and a couple little 8-inch guys, and like I'm feeling like happy and good vibes. So I'm using like bright colors and everything. So it's nice to feel that way again. And for me personally, like there's something I find like that healing. There's a healing vibe that painting and creating mandalas has. That's a little different from the other art I create. Mandalas historically, and you know, in the Hindu and Buddhist traditions, they have aspects to them that are to help people heal. And I think, like, for me personally, I'm in one of those phases right now where working on these mandalas is helping me heal. Like, helping me heal the
line work is great.
The trauma of being, you know, crushed by Facebook so much that I had to go back and get a job. And I'm starting to enjoy work. I'm starting to get along with the people there and feel like I'm part of a team. And, like, you know, those are the kind of things that I was missing when I was at home working by myself. I didn't have like a team. I wasn't part of a team. It was me versus Facebook and Google algorithms.
Yeah, it's so important to get out of the house.
Facebook and Google algorithms were crushing me. So like, I felt like this little.
Oh well, now it's happening on Instagram.
Thing being crushed in this. Oh, like I was just this little tiny.
We're in the second reckoning, bro. We are in the second judgment, and Yahweh's coming down hard on us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew this would happen on Instagram a long time ago, and that's why I never even bothered building much on Instagram. And you know, like I maybe should have built more and like rode the wave while it was there. But to be honest, Instagram about 4 days ago blocked me from liking, commenting, and adding and following people. And I have no idea why. I use Instagram for like 30, 40 minutes a week. I never go hit like on 500 posts. I never go drop comments. I never spam people in the inbox.
So what you were?
All of a sudden, I'm not allowed to use Instagram anymore, except post and respond to comments on my own posts. I can't comment on other people's posts. I can't like other people's posts. I can't follow other people. None of it. And I have no idea why. And you know, of course, this may have happened by. If you think this has happened by mistake, let us know. Report it. I reported nothing. So I deleted all the Instagram apps I use because like for 4 days I couldn't do anything on Instagram.
You serious?
I'm serious, and I have no idea why. I don't use paid services to get followers. I don't use paid services to get likes. I don't use any scams on Instagram. I don't use any of the things that break community standards. I don't post racist or political shit. I post my art, and like I guess I don't know if I have people on my following me that report my shit as spam because I sell my art. I don't know what caused their algorithms to all of a sudden decide that Adam Milward, you're not allowed using Instagram anymore.
That's worse than Facebook, bro.
And yeah, I mean, and I don't know. At least Facebook sends me a message that says you've been blocked from this action for 72 hours or whatever. Instagram, nothing. Just you've been blocked from performing this action and nothing further. If you think this has happened by mistake, report it. I report it. And there's not even a menu that comes up to like report what the problem is or anything. It's just like, thank you.
That's the future.
And that's it.
That's the future. Well, I've seen some people's phones where there is no like amount of comments and there is no amount of likes. It's just like, hey, they're looking at all the pictures and it's just like, hey, 2 people. They put the names of 2 people that they are in their network that have also liked that and others. It's just a weird scenario that's happening.
Yeah.
Where it's starting to be different for other people.
Well, that's the whole that's gaslighting. That's called gaslighting, and that's like a nefarious CIA tactic, let's face it. Like, I don't want to get back into another whole conspiracy.
They're going to ban this.
Episode,
that our network's going down right now.
Yeah, probably.
I see the switches are going... Okay, continue with your conspiracy theory.
Like, for example, like I'll go on Facebook and say only 1% of my followers are seeing my post. And when I say that, 5% of my followers will see my post. So then it's like, oh, well, that's not true. Obviously, a bunch of us are seeing this post. Why don't you post more art? And then I'll reply to them, I've been posting art every day for the last month. Why don't you go look at my timeline? And then they go look at my timeline, and first of all, everything's out of order. Like my posts from today are going to be 8 posts down on my timeline. And like,
really?
I'm dead serious. And it's the same thing when I go look at other people's timelines. I have to scroll through like 15 irrelevant posts and memes they shared before I even get to their original content. And it's out of order. It's not in chronological order. And when I look at my own timeline, everything's in chronological order. But when somebody else goes to my timeline, it is not in chronological order at all. And that's part of shadow banning. It actually just came out, like Facebook denies that they do shadow banning. And it just came out last week that Facebook has a patent for the way their algorithm shadow bans people. So, what's up with that?
Explain what a shadow ban is.
What a shadow ban is when you post something, like for example, you might post something in a group and you'll see your post. Your post will appear in the group's feed and it's like, cool. Or on Instagram, maybe you'll post on a hashtag and it's like, cool. Your post is appearing there. You go to hashtag me and you click it and look, your post is there in the most recent post. And what shadow banning is you're the only one that sees that. Nobody else sees your post. Nobody. So it looks normal to you, and you're wondering why no one's liking it, and it's literally because their algorithms prevent anyone else from even seeing it. Your post is not in the group. Your post is not in that hashtag. And there's a whole bunch of ways that their algorithms determine when they're going to drop that shadow ban on you. And it might be using the same hashtag over and over. Like if you use the same hashtag every day on your post, there's a good chance you're shadow banned in that hashtag. And same thing on a Facebook group. Like if you're posting in more than 1 or 2 groups and you're not interacting with other people in the group on a regular basis, shadow ban. No one's going to see your stuff in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, sharing my art in relevant groups was how I built my art career. So when that was taken away from me, it made it really hard for me to reach the people who are into spirituality. It made it really hard for me to reach the people who are into mandalas. It made it really hard for me to reach the people who are into sacred geometry, because I was in all kinds of groups about that. But now when I post in those, and my posts would get thousands of likes, literally thousands. I'd get 200, 300, 400 comments on my posts sometimes. Now I post in those same groups, I'm shadow banned. Not even one person sees my posts. So, you know, over the years, I've pretty much left all those groups. I've like, Facebook has made, and Instagram have made it so depressing. Like, you have to work so hard just to reach a few people that most people don't even bother anymore. And I'm one of them. Like, I don't, what's the point of sharing my art to 50 groups if I'm going to get shadow banned anyway?
Mm-hmm.
So nobody you're going to see my posts. And then that carries into your algorithms. Like, if you've been shadow banned before, now you might start to get shadow banned from your own followers, where the only way your own followers will ever see your posts is if they come directly to your timeline. They'll never see them in their feed. And that's the gaslighting, is Facebook and Instagram will tell you all of your followers can see your posts. We do not hide your posts from people.
That's not true.
But they do. They hide them in the newsfeed. They hide them if you go over directly to the person's timeline. They might not hide them as much. But I know for sure, I go to people's Instagram timelines that I know they've been on Instagram for 5 years and they've been posting almost every day for that 5 years or more. And I go to their timeline and I can see 50, 60 posts and then it won't let me scroll down anymore. So,
let's face it, it's caca.
Yeah.
You can't, you don't have a history. So you might have saw someone and then you're thinking about it, but you can't remember the handle. And it would be so helpful to give you a history. They don't want you to have a history. And you post notify. They give you an option to post notify, and all the people that I post notify.
No notify.
Why do they gotta work so hard? They gotta write it down on a piece of paper, their fucking handle, because you don't have a history. You don't have. You know, it's like, it's just the worst.
Yeah, I mean, I like see first thing on Facebook. I have like 5 of my favorite artists at least, and probably more, hit on see first, and literally I never see any of their posts ever.
And then you go to the thing, it's like a massive. Like, oh.
Now today, I was on Facebook and I saw a post in my newsfeed of this guy complaining that, "Dear Facebook, why do you show me all these business pages of people that I've blocked?" So it's like, no, probably they're not even paying. They only want to show your business page to people that they know are going to hate on you.
No, it can't be that nefarious.
Why would they be showing it to the guy? I guess maybe they paid.
Because you know how many times you get the same ad over and over, and you start to feel bad for the guy who paid. Because it's like, bro, like, you legit wasted like $2 on me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where I've just seen it 12 times. It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
I'm not even staying.
Now here's the ultimate thing is, I don't know if your newsfeed is like that. I don't know.
Because we're
maybe it's not.
Guys.
Maybe we're doing business, and that's why Facebook kills us like that. Maybe you're gonna go look at other friends' news feeds, and everything is gonna be in chronological order. Maybe you're gonna come to my news feed, and everything's gonna be in chronological order, and then you're gonna go, "Adam, are you fucking high? Everything's in chronological order," and you're gonna send me a video and show me it. And then I'm gonna send Germ to my page, and he'll take a video where everything's out of order, and my posts from 2 weeks ago are at the top of my timeline. And like, that's called, like, in psychological terms, that's called gaslighting, is making other people think that what you're complaining about is totally fucking crazy.
Yeah.
and abusive. I saw one other guy post, like, I don't know, maybe a few months ago, that being on Facebook is a lot like being in an abusive relationship, where they don't let you see your family and friends, they don't let you leave the house, they only let you see a select few people that they approve are okay to see, And if you try complaining to anybody else that your abusive partner is only letting you see with this, then your abusive partner is going to tell them all they're like, you're crazy. And here's the proof that he's the one who's crazy. Go look at his timeline. It's in order. So, you know, I could really see that. Like, he's right. It is. It's a lot like being in an abusive relationship. I feel anxiety when I log into Facebook. I don't feel positive and excited. I used to feel super excited. I'd be like, I've got a new painting to share. Awesome. I can't wait to hit that and see what people have to say about it. And now I share new art and, like, you know.
Yeah, it's a different era. Like,
it's
back then.
So different. It's so
back
different.
then, you could write a blog, put it on a couple places, and make money. And yeah, you'd be stoked on doing that. You'd type up a story, tell a story, put it in places that you know would be dope and stoked on that story, and you'd make money. That was the internet back then. And we're talking maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's around 5 years ago. You had Google Ads.
2012.
You had Reddit. You had Reddit in its prime. So we gotta always ride the wave.
Yeah.
Really.
And I'll be honest, like, right now I don't know what wave to ride.
Well, you know what? Artist life is the most magical life. In the sense that it takes the most amount of faith. And for some reason, it always works out. And you just have to really believe that it's going to work out in a fantastical way and not in a bum way. Because you're actually going to have one or the other, because that's what this career is kind of. You could be a magical artist, and it all has to do with the mind.
I think for me personally, it became like,
this is really important, bro.
Yeah.
This changes the vibration. That's kind of what I'm talking about. When you think magically, you have a higher vibration, therefore you attract different thoughts, therefore you paint different types of paintings,
or
choose
more
different types of colors,
or whatever,
and then those begot more of it. So now that you've seen it and you created it, now you're in that state longer.
No, I mean, I definitely feel more positive about, like, the possibilities of the future than I did a few months ago. But at the same time, when I log into Facebook, I'm still dealing with the same algorithms, and I just 4 days ago, all of a sudden Instagram doesn't work at all for me, so it's like, okay, there goes Instagram, thanks Instagram. And
what did we do back in the day? What if it was like 1940?
If it was 1940, I probably would have been an artist, because I wouldn't have believed. I would have thought it was too much work. I would have thought that you needed to know somebody that owns a gallery or knows somebody in New York, and I wouldn't have had the faith that I could just reach people all over the world by pressing a button.
I'm sure there's professional artists in all kinds of towns.
But, like, for me personally, that's the truth. If I didn't have social media, I probably never would have done more than 4 or 5 paintings. But when I did those 4 or 5 paintings, and 70 or 80 out of my 400 friends at the time were telling me how awesome it was, that was fucking motivating. So I wanted to keep doing it. And I was getting clean and sober from, you know, years of drug and alcohol abuse. So it was a whole other thing that was pushing me forward too. You know, it was like a new addiction, a new thing, a new way to spend my time that was creating things that was other people were enjoying and resonating with, and you know, strangers were finding my stuff, because back in the day you'd post on your own timeline, and if your friends shared your posts, like, all their friends would actually see it. Like, I'd be getting all kinds of people that I didn't know coming over to my page and finding out about me and adding me as a friend and telling me
this is the golden age.
And, like, yeah,
the golden age.
And I'll be honest, like, from a mental point of view, it's hard to get over that. It's hard to figure out what to do now, what works now. I got on, like, a whole bunch of social medias, and I figured, okay, well, I cast a wider net by being on Minds, on MeWe, on Steemit, on, you know, Pinterest, on Facebook, on Twitter, on everywhere. And now I am, and I try and post on them as often as possible, but have things to log into and post, and they all have slightly different formats that they prefer. You know, I can't write 300 words on Twitter. I can only write however many characters, and then there's other ones where you can only attach one picture. There's other ones where you can attach, you know, a series of pictures, etc., etc. So it's like, it takes time to go in there and do that and format them all, and then, you know, reprocess them all. Whereas at one point it was just log into one spot, and that's where it was. That's where it was like walking into my store every day. Facebook was my store, you know.
We're such different artists, eh? I don't even Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi at home.
No, you're definitely a different artist. You built your business a different way than I did. I mean, the way that you went about building your business.
But just how you influenced my business, I'm sure I can influence you into.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely got me thinking about buying a car for like the first time in my life, because I see that as being a huge advantage that you have for doing business in person locally that I don't have. I simply can't bring stuff around by foot.
And my car is an absolute mess.
Yeah, it's a mess, but you can take your box of t-shirts and like go downtown to a store and be like, hey, I got these shirts. You want to sell them?
Yeah.
Or you want to buy a bunch of them at wholesale, or like people see you like.
Let's be real. I go downtown sometimes and I make around $100 just because the car shirt's in it.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Spectrum and get shirts. What do you wear? Louder?
Carry a few shirts in a backpack, but I can't carry a few shirts and a big canvas that everyone's gonna go, wow, that's awesome, and that canvas is gonna make them want the shirt.
Oh, dude, I have an idea. I want to run by you. Do you want to go on strike? Where we make a strike sign and we go downtown and we strike because social media sucks so much and we have to go on the street for people to see our art, and that's the art piece, and then we sell the strike sign.
That's awesome. I mean, I don't know how much I'd actually want to.
It's like almost like
all day on strike, like, and then what? How do we let people know we're on strike?
I'll tell you off camera that we're just gonna fucking film it. It's gonna be ironic because we're gonna film it and put it on social media. That we're striking on social media.
Mm-hmm. We have to film it, and then we have to film ourselves giving the video to someone who's not on strike and having them upload it for us. Because like, being like, but the thing is like. I've tried going on strike from social media. I tried building my website and getting everyone to follow me on my email list. And it didn't work.
Why not?
Because nobody saw the posts of me inviting them to join my email list.
Oh.
So, like, all it really did was, okay, those last 70 people that follow my art on a regular basis, now they're not seeing anything from me, and now they think that, okay, Adam finally stopped making art. And that's the biggest thing that happens. Like, I released like 5 colored t-shirts in the last year with color prints on them. Now I have a fan of my art who's a big fan of my art. She comments on almost everything I do and she shares almost every post I make. Now she wrote to me and asked me, Adam, are you doing any colored shirts? Like we spoke a couple years ago, you only had your black and white one. Are you ever going to do color prints? And I'm like, I've done a bunch of colored prints. And like I gave her the link and she didn't know. She had no idea I was releasing these t-shirts.
That's the ultimate shadow ban where they know this person would be a candidate and they for sure block that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I've told the story before about where my dad's conversation was sent to my filtered inbox. I couldn't believe it. My fucking dad. My dad is marked as my dad on Facebook. My dad and I have a good relationship. It's not like he abandoned me when I was 6 and we never talk. Like he's marked as my dad on Facebook. And he wrote me a message and sent me like a group message where one of his friends wanted to buy some stuff from me for Christmas. And he wrote me a group message and it ended up in my filtered inbox. And this was in 2016 or something before I really knew that filtered inbox existed. So then I go find this filtered inbox and there's my dad thinks I'm ignoring him. And then I see my dad a few days after he sent this message and he's like, Adam, what's the matter? You don't want to sell Lauren some blankets or what? And I'm like, Lauren, blankets, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I sent you a message on Facebook, a group message. She's waiting for you to reply. It's like, my dad. My Facebook won't let me talk to my dad. And then my dad thinks I'm ghosting him and ignoring him on purpose because he doesn't know it's in my filtered inbox. That's another gaslighting thing that they do.
If it's about the fact that there was a potential sale, like, I'll shit my pants right here, bro.
I'd love to know the reason that the algorithms decided to put that in my filtered inbox. I would really love to know.
I would love to know how much money we lose every year as a businessman to that shadow ban.
And am
I losing fucking 10K plus here?
I'm losing tons of money. I lost my art career. I don't have an art career anymore. I work at a call center again. I'm a part-time artist. I can't say I've been working full-time as an artist for 5 years. I can't say that anymore because I'd be lying. I did 4.5 years full-time, but the last 4 months I've been working at a job again. And, it kind of sucks. because when Facebook was booming and I was making enough money to go out to events and hang around with other artists, and it didn't matter if I didn't had a car, I could take a taxi if an event went till 4 in the morning and the buses weren't running anymore. But when I'm not making any money, I can't do that. I can't go out to the bar and fucking buy a few Cokes and, just chill and spend money going back and forth when I'm not making enough money to barely pay the rent. Doing those kind of things and networking, like, it just wasn't possible. Especially I was sick at the time too for a lot of it. So that kind of, that compounded a lot of my personal, it made it worse because I wasn't thinking clearly, and I could have taken advantage of Instagram's positive wave that it did have, but I didn't because I was so convinced that it was going to happen any day on Instagram, just like it did on Facebook. And when it happened on Facebook, it devastated me, and just like it was mentally very difficult. Just speaking from a person who used to erase all his problems with alcohol and who changed that, like, I don't think about drinking as a solution to my problems a lot, but Facebook kind of made me want to throw my sobriety away for a little while because I was like, what the fuck is the point? Eventually it's not like I really, really wanted to go get drunk, but it made me not care anymore. It made me not care because it's like, it's so much work to reach so few people. And like, I guess it probably sounds to some people like I'm whining and complaining, like, oh, you're so lucky you have this and that and the other thing in the first place. And you're right, I am lucky. I have this room with all these lights and I have all this paint and I have an awesome co-host for my podcast that it has an awesome name, Arty Time. And like,
and you do have a lot of paint.
And I have the Frame Master. Like, your podcast, no Frame Master, sorry. So like, there is a lot of things I have to be grateful for, but
yeah,
it makes it hard to focus on that when you're like feeling like you're getting squished every day, like somebody's stepping on you.
I think the ones who go through this and make content like this are the ones that are going to matter in the end, because it'll really be like, oh, yo, you don't understand. Like, until we figure it out, we're going to figure it out at one point, but we're going to look back and be like, there was some people, like,
I know so many.
Really
I know one artist who I collect his work. I love his work. And he doesn't pay anymore. He's like, I don't even bother him, man. It's like, it's just depressing. Because let's face it, as an artist, when you're creating something, for sure there's a part of you that's creating for it because you have this creative impulse and you maybe have this thing that's channeling through you, or you have this, like, there's part of it that's for you. But when we're creating art, we're creating it for an audience. We're creating it for you. We're creating it for people. We're not just creating it for ourselves. Creating art just for yourself, like, I know there's a lot that's therapeutic in a lot of ways, but if you're trying to make a living as an artist, you can't be just making art for yourself. You're making art for an audience. And like, not having feedback from the audience, eventually it gets to feel like, what's the point? Am I just doing this because I'm a narcissist and he likes, or is there something deeper? And that's why, for me personally, getting back into these mandalas, and for me, there is something deeper. And I hit it again. I'm plugged into that again.
Because, like, dude, like, even if 10 people saw this, it crashed with no internet, and I just painted it at my house, and maybe I walked around with it and showed some friends my new drawing, I would still do them because my main goal is to make, a book as if it was 1940 with all the job. And then eventually I could paint this. Wouldn't it be a funny painting, too?
Would be pretty awesome.
A painting of a person painting? Of a painting.
It is. I like it. I love it.
But without this, it would just be like, this is a painting.
Awesome.
So, I don't know, suffice to say that if it's really what you love to do, I don't think it matters how many people see it, and always remind yourself that in the end, art is about the lineage, the consistency, and the lifestyle. Because an artist is like very unique. Like, there's no one that has a house like that. We're in a room where it's like, look at that wall. Oh, there's a spot. Probably sold it.
You're right.
No one lives like this, So it's important to hold true to that, because eventually the stars are gonna align and you're gonna meet the people who you'll change their lives forever.
Oh, and I'm sure that and Germ's got it right. The people that keep making art and that keep making content, even if it's at a slower pace, even if you feel demotivated and it's hard and there's like this force field kind of blocking it, as long as there's something that's still flowing through, then you didn't give up. And at the end of the day, when things improve on the internet, or when I buy a car and go meet people and I can show these stores like, hey, I have 9 social medias and 40,000 people following me, and they don't have this same problem of trying to reach people all over the world and getting crushed by algorithms, because they have a shop where people walk by the front door and walk the fuck in. So, like, things are gonna be different eventually. And it takes a positive mindset, and it also takes me spending less time on social media racking my head about this stupid thing that doesn't work, and I've tried every possible angle to get it to work and it just doesn't. So we're the ones that keep pushing are the ones that are going to have that continuity and that are not going to like completely disappear. And
I think let's talk about going to events that how important it is to network with people and the things that you're interested in, and not necessarily have to do with painting, because that's the best part. Let's say you're interested in ballroom dancing. You go to ballroom dancing, there's a lawyer, there's a doctor, there's other professions, but is there the artist?
Maybe not.
And then you get to fill that role. So don't necessarily look for a group of artists. Yes, look for a group of artists too, but if Mandela's spirituality totally and stuff like that, you go in there, you might be the only artist.
That's one thing that I've always recommended to people, because I remember one time an artist who painted fish. That's all he did. He painted fish. He loves painting fish. Nice. He painted like trout and like pike and like he painted fish. He painted fish that you go fishing for in Canada and the USA. That's what he painted. And he was like, I can't sell my fishing paintings. I don't know how. I'm like, bro, go on hunting and fishing groups. And like 3 weeks later, this was back when Facebook worked properly. 3 weeks later, he's like, bro, I joined a bunch of hunting and fishing groups and I sold 3 paintings in the last 2 weeks. I was like, there you go. So it's like,
but that can work in real life.
That can work in real life.
But he has to actually care about fucking hunting and fishing, or else fuck off. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, to a certain extent, but you also have to just render them accurately. Like a guy who goes fishing for trout and has one mounted on his wall and like loves fishing, and that's what he does, and he's got his fucking garage full of fishing.
I'm talking about the painter. The painter who does paints fish. If he doesn't care about fishing,
if the painter sits there and paints fucking fish all day every day, the guy likes fish. He doesn't have to fake his passion.
I'm just talking about in the real. I guess he does. Clearly, he does like fishing.
Yeah, he does.
So you should go fishing in real life, is what I'm saying, and then that's where he's gonna make the sales.
Yeah, now I think,
and also he's gonna live.
I think I've mentioned it before on this podcast, but I know, or I have spoken to an artist who paints cityscapes. He basically, goes and sets up his easel and paints like a certain viewpoint of whatever city he's in. And then what he does is he makes prints of it, and he goes door to door in that neighborhood and knocks on their door and says, hey, I'm an artist, and he has the original painting, and I have prints of it. And everyone knows it because he goes and knocks on doors in that freaking neighborhood where people pass that same viewpoint every day. So that's how he makes his living, because people resonate with it. People are like, oh man, I recognize that view, that's just down the street from me. And then they hang it on their wall, and then everyone else that comes in that lives in their city are like, oh hey, I know that, where'd you get that? And then they tell them about the artist.
And it's convenient.
And then the artist will go stand on their street and paint from their point. Like it's a pretty genius way if you're that kind of artist.
It's fucking genius, bro. Because even when you move, that'll be the view of the place that you lived in before.
Yeah, and when he moves, he just starts painting those things. Like he can go anywhere, because he paints like oil plein air paintings that only take him 40 or 50, maybe an hour. And you can photograph them before they're even dry and start making prints on them. And it's a good way. Wherever he moves, he can do that. You can go to any neighborhood and do that. You can even travel and do that.
Which ones do you think you're gonna do?
None, because that's not my kind of art.
No, like groups, hobbies.
Well, actually, recently, just coming up soon, I'm gonna take part in a big event called the Buddha Bazaar.
Oh yeah, dope.
In Montreal, which is like an event with all kinds of tarot card readers and spiritual themed vendors that sell I guess incense and wands
Crystals.
and mandala art. Like, hey, me, I'm the mandala guy.
You're gonna crush.
I'm gonna crush.
This is actually your hobby.
Yeah.
Your hobby is like standing all day and not pissing and crushing the vending table.
I'm a sales guy. I love to make sales. And that's another thing for me personally that's been hard about all this is like I'm literally a sales guy. I get a rush off of making sales. I've been a sales guy forever.
You gotta rack up some cash and go on the circuit. And just have a one a month and you just go on the circuit.
Now here's what's kind of the issue that's been, and this is something that I have had to learn the hard way and still haven't mastered, is my cash flow for my business during the year. Now, I know that Christmas tends to be my big season, and I make a lot of money between like October and January. I also often have a lot of money in the bank after that and decide that it's a good idea to invest in a bunch of products. So I'll invest in a bunch of products, and then summer slow season comes. So then I took all the money, invested in the products. Facebook's not letting very many people see. I'm not selling a whole lot of those products. And then like my summer slow season comes and I'm screwed. And this year I had to get a job because I didn't prepare for it well. I probably would have had to get a job anyway, even if I did prepare for it well. But then during the end of summer, when all these craft fairs for the holidays are happening, I don't have any money to join them. So I end up being screwed because I can't become part of these craft fairs and these big ones that cost $300 for the weekend or more. And this year, because of the fact I have a job, I can afford those tables and to get into these events that are, they're bigger events. They're than a church basement art bazaar. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. It's a little bit of the roll of the dice because the table's a lot more expensive than I'm used to paying. If I make roughly the same amount of sales as I have at previous events, then I'm barely going to make any money. I'll barely break even for the day. So I'm hoping I end up making more money because it's a bigger event. It's advertised as that kind of event, so it should be bringing in that kind of crowd. So, I'm hoping that this year, because of the fact I have a little bit of funds available to help me get into these local events, that I will be able to, still make ends meet for the holidays and still have a good holiday season. And next year I want to learn from my mistakes and not invest in a whole bunch of new products right after the holidays. Maybe invest in a few, but not like a huge whack at them like I have in the last few years. And
in the last few years, like
I've done this mistake more than once.
I've done it too this year.
So
probably every year. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the most exciting things for me, putting my art on new products and getting it out there and like getting the shipping and knowing that it's on the way and opening the box and seeing how everything looks. Like that's freaking exciting for me. So I love that part of it. And it's a little addictive. Maybe I spent a little too much money on product last year and a little not enough money on advertising and like reaching people and advertising, like quote unquote getting tables for events where I'm advertising and selling whatever. That's something I want to keep in mind for next year. And something I hope maybe hearing it from me, you guys can maybe avoid making the same mistake. Because those Christmas and holiday craft fairs and art fairs and things like that from the beginning of school season to Christmas are big. For the last 4 or 5 years, almost 40 to 60% of my income comes from those 3 or 4 months at the end of the year. That's when people have taken their vacations, the summer festival season is over, like people have more disposable income, they've paid their taxes for the year, you're past that tax freedom date or whatever it's called. So anyway, so there's that. So that's another thing too, is if you're like trying to get your art out there, keep in mind that like this time of year is when you should be gearing up for that big season. You should be prepared to like get your stuff out there a lot on social media and otherwise as much as you can, because this time of year is when people are like, in about a month from now is when it really starts to pick up, where people are in that treating themselves. You know, where they have a little bit of money that they're like, I had a nice vacation. Winter's coming. Winter's gonna suck. Maybe I'll invest a few $100 in a beautiful painting. So
Yeah, it's definitely a big change to the summer. The summer artists are like non-existent. They have to do events.
mm-hmm.
That's a lot about how like there's a lot of artists that survive on that solely in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
They do events, and then in wintertime they
create.
They hibernate, I guess.
Yeah,
they don't make as much money. Yeah, but they're not like. There's a lot of people who do events, bro. There's a lot of events and a lot of money that goes on.
Mm-hmm. No, there really are, and that's why I mentioned a couple of times in this podcast. Like, you got me thinking about getting a car. Because look, if I can't reach people on Facebook, and even when I pay Facebook, people in Zimbabwe and India see my posts instead of the people I'm actually trying to reach, then like maybe I shouldn't bother paying Facebook. Maybe I should invest in a car so that I can do more of these events and go to the ones that are 45 minutes away where no one's ever seen me or my art before, and I can start blowing new people's minds. It's like joining a new group on Facebook used to be. Instead of joining a new group on Facebook, I'm selling my art at a new event. And I'm meeting new people in real life, and on the phone. The phone is another thing that I want to do. I got really into it for a couple of days. I like kind of got off that path a little bit, but I want to get back into it and give it a go again, because like I know that somewhere in the phone world there's a script for me that's going to work and that's going to help me sell either sponsorships on my website for corporate people to advertise and or actually sell my art to people, to businesses, or to people, or get patrons. There's somewhere in there that like I just need to keep focused on it and find it and give it a little bit of time.
This is genius.
So I will eventually.
As soon as you have the proof of concept, it's going to be genius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's right now where I live, I have upstairs neighbors and our side doors are connected, so there's a little bit of privacy issue that kind of bothers me when I'm working on the phone, but because they let their dogs out and they yell like, hey, out, 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 and like if I'm working professionally on the phone, even if it only happens once, I've got this mental block about that. It really shouldn't matter, but anyway, that's where it is. I'm used to working in a professional call center environment and everything has to be right to make phone calls, so I've got it like 95% there.
I believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in you. Selling art on the phone. We all have our way of doing it, and that's what should be encouraged, is find your way, because your way is the only way. And everyone's going to be blown away when you show them your way.
And that's like, I know we've mentioned that before on the show, is like, the way German and I do things, there's 100,000 other ways to do things. And like, I encourage you strongly to go watch other podcasts or read other blogs about the business side of art, like Krista Coutier, the working artist, or artbusiness.com. Alan Bamberger's a guy that's, spent 40 years or 50 years working in the art business as an appraiser and a gallerist and other things. He's got some really, really good advice. He's a little bit of a sarcastic curmudgeon, and let's say, but if you read his articles and don't like comment on his posts, okay, you'll be good. But be careful of leaving any other opinions on any of his posts, because he's pretty convinced that his way is the right way and everything else is stupid. So like I tried to tell him about Minds and Steam It, and that I was selling art on there, and that it might be something he could write an article about to help his fans, like these new social media sites. And he wrote back to me that he thought it was a scam and he didn't believe in cryptocurrency, and any artist who's selling their shit with cryptocurrency obviously isn't a real artist if they need to be using this scam money that drug dealers use, and da 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 da. And I wrote back to him, I'm like, Alan, that's exactly how people thought about credit cards 50 years ago. And now everyone has a credit card. And he wrote back to me, well, when everybody has a Bitcoin card in their wallet and you can use it at Walmart, let me know. And I'm like, okay, fine. So you don't want to sell art on Steam and Alan? Fine. I get it. You're right. But that aside, he does have a ton of good information that really helped me. One of the main things that he focuses on is like consistency and style, and how like having something that people recognize is important.
Yeah, That's the dark side of the arts, because when you want to make art, I've seen artists do this where they just want to be creative, and they are artists. There's no doubt about it. You paint when you want to, and you poop and you fuck when you want to. But in the business of art, it's so important to have a style and to have that hidden intent that it seems like magic, but some magic has a sleight of hand. So, Adam, you have two styles. You know what I mean? And he technically could have more hidden inside of him.
Oh, I have tons more styles hidden inside of me.
And he refuses to show you them.
No.
Refuses. He's not going to muddy the water. And that's what I'm talking about.
My amoebas? I did 3 paintings that are amoebas. They're a total different style.
Oh, there's a third style.
It was the second style before this was the second style. But I realized quickly that, like, because I did these very early in my art career. Like, I had probably not even painted 20 paintings, and like it was still only people that knew me in real life that were following my art for the most part. And like some of my friends and family were like, paint something, I'll do something besides the mandala. Of course, none of them were buying any of my art anyway. So like taking direction from people who aren't supporting you about what they want to see and hoping they're going to support you when you give them what they want to see is like, that's not the way to do business as an artist.
Don't do that.
But I did it because they were all telling me, show us something different, show us something different. So I did something different. I did a different style of doodling that I did sometimes working in call centers. They're kind of like amoeba blobs. Anyways, I did some paintings like that. And like, didn't really get a good reaction. So I was like, meh, whatever. Stick to the mandala thing. I want to be a master mandala painter. I want to get my 10,000 hours of painting mandalas under my belt. Because there's a theory out there. A guy wrote a book about 10,000 hours takes 10,000 hours to master something. Like if you do something for 10,000 hours consistently, you pretty much got it. Like you'll be really good at whatever it is you've practiced for 10,000 hours. And I'm not even there yet. I'm still only at like around 9,000 hours. I've still got like 1,000 hours to go painting mandalas to reach my 10,000 hours.
It's exciting though.
Yeah, it is, and I'll be honest. I kind of got off that.
It's like a video game.
It's
like when you get
for a bit,
and you can have multiple 10,000. You have any guitar?
Oh, I have probably 30,000 on guitar.
Okay, dope. Yeah. So this is like your. And do you have anything else you have 10,000 in?
Getting drunk.
Okay, yeah.
I have way more than 10,000 into that, man. I probably have more than 30,000 into that. But yeah, I was a drunk master.
But now you're working on not just painting, the mandala specifically. Although I feel the technique and the line work is getting super tight.
No, there's definitely like been improvement. I add a lot more details into my art now than I used to. I give them a lot more time.
I love the boldness of like you hit right over the red, and you don't come back and you cut. That's just part of it.
What are you talking about?
You know, like how you hit on top of the red, here and here, and this one is underneath. I don't know how.
What are you talking about?
See how the orange comes on top of the red?
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's,
okay,
that's all part of it. It's like just that's where the brush stroke happens.
Yeah, no, I mean it's that's what it is. I see what you mean now. I'd have to go real up close to show what he's talking about. But like,
Yeah, it's a human imperfection of it.
And I think that's why people like my mandalas, and I've always said that. My mandalas are done 100% freehand. I do not use geometry tools. I don't use a ruler. I don't use a projector. I don't use tracing. I don't use a grid. 100% freehand. And I call them organic imperfections. When you do a mandala digitally, or when you measure it out like to the fucking millimeter, then it looks machine made. You know there was a lot of planning and laying out and whatever. There's a lot of work that goes into it if you're, or you could just press a button on your phone. But like they have something to them that's very mathematical that almost takes away the human part of it. And I think that my mandalas have that organic imperfection that maybe makes people just look at them a little longer and go like their brain knows there's something mathematically imperfect about it. And they want to know what that thing is. So they take a second or two longer to look at my mandalas than they might look at other people's mandalas that were done with geometry tools and laid out perfectly. I think that's why a lot of people really resonate with my mandalas. Maybe I'm wrong, But
you'll know.
I have a strong suspicion that is one reason.
I think it's honorable to try and get 10,000 hours into that.
Well, that was always one of my goals when I started painting. You know, maybe not right when I started, but like, you know, 8 or 9 months into it, I realized I wanted to make it into a career, and I realized if I wanted to sell my art, I needed to put price tags on them, and to put price tags on them, I needed to know how long they took me so that I'm not, you know, making $2 an hour. I need to know how long things took me. So I started keeping track of how long paintings took. And then when I started keeping track of how long they took, I just started adding it up, and it was kind of fun to see like the progress of how it was going. And, you know, it's not like I have this big log where I write every 15-minute session I do painting and keep track of it. It's just basically
how long
an estimate. Yeah. You know, like maybe I've actually already spent 10,000 hours painting, and my estimates are off, or maybe I'm only at 7,200 hours and not 8,000. I don't know, but right around there. So you know, it's been something that kept me going and kept me motivated and kept me inspired to reach my own goals. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm having fun painting again. I'm having fun. It's like I don't care if people don't see my art on Facebook as much, because it's like whatever. I got money in the bank. I'm doing these Buddha Bar events. I'm doing this, like, I got Ribfest Brossard coming up. I've spoken about Ribfest on this podcast before. They're doing another one, but it's in the city, kind of next to the one where I did the last one, and it's got a much better location where I'm sure I'm gonna make $1,000 that weekend.
If I can share with you,
I'm excited about it.
My plan for 10,000 hours, it's inking.
Nice.
And just doing comics. I've always been like a fan of Sunday comics. Well, fucking any comic, really. And I thought that would be a great career, and I didn't really realize at the beginning of my career that they were selling ads with the comics. So the whole shtick that I do around the comics is so that one day my plan is that I can just do this and it sells for $1,000. Everything you're seeing is just for that purpose.
You know what? I think it would be cool, like, because
your
little comics, your comics are all one-panel comics.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite comic ever was Far Side.
Yeah, me too.
So I could see something like Far Side where maybe, okay, like, yes, this original ink might sell for a lot of money, but you could also have a Journey calendar where every day there's a new comic.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They're all saying
the Germ D everything, just like Farside did. The Farside Volume 1, the Farside Volume 2, the Germ D. I have the Germ D Volume 1.
I want it. The guy who did the Farside, what's his name?
Gary. I want to say Gary Larson. Is it Gary Larson or Doug Larson?
Maybe Doug Larson.
Doug Larson.
Maybe Doug Larson. But that guy is like, of all the things I saw growing up, that really struck home to me.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that
it was
someone
my favorite
comic. But for me, it's like someone made a career doing this, and you're looking around like, who else is doing this? What's it like? They have a coffee and they draw something.
It always used to boggle my mind.
And comedy's involved?
Because I used to not so much contemplate being an artist myself, because I only started making art when I was 31. So when I was reading Farside when I was a kid, I was not thinking of it the way he was. Like, I'd love to do that or anything like that. What I used to think of, how the fuck does he come up with a goddamn new joke every fucking day? How does this guy not run out of ideas? And now that I'm an artist, I know how he doesn't run out of ideas, because he probably has 10,000 ideas stored in the back that he just doesn't even have time to do.
It's always flowing.
He
has to turn it off, actually.
Exactly. And I'm that way too. I mean,
you have to know when to turn it off.
If I have a painting and a canvas in front of me, I will always think of something to put on it. Yeah. There's never any point where you can put a canvas and I'll be like, oh, I have a painter's block. Like, there might be a painter's block where I'm lazy.
Yeah, and then I
don't feel
which one
like
is different.
Painting, and I don't feel like painting. But to actually not have ideas, that's like, doesn't happen.
If I don't have an idea, you'll know it's which one is different. Or some type of Paint More is similar to. Now I can always revert back to Paint More. I have a Smurf one, Mario one. I'll have a Felix the Cat one, and they'll all draw Betty Boop.
Nice. No, I really like. I like how you take, like, all these characters, and like you make it fresh every time. Like there's always something new that you're doing with, like you've done Mario before, you've done Betty Boop before, but I've never seen them this way before.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like I look at you kind of the same way that I look at you know, Doug or Gary Larson. And I'm like, how do you come up with these ideas every day? Like I couldn't do it, but that's because that's not the flow I'm in, because I haven't been trying to come up with these ideas every day. Like
but they're a language.
You would probably
right? Like,
have trouble coming up with a fresh mandala every day.
Oh, of course.
Unless you did it for 60 or 70 days in a row, it might start flowing.
But in this scenario, it's like these characters are the characters of the comic.
Mm-hmm.
Just as Charlie Brown is a character in his comic with Linus and Snoopy, I just take Snoopy and Charlie Brown and leave Linus over there. And then my comic involves those characters. So Betty Boop is just a stereotypical woman that's sought after.
Mm.
And Mario not drawing the typical Peach is interesting.
So you know what kind of
that's part of it.
You know what this made me think of, that I kind of maybe like.
And the other one was like, people were like, how come he's not drawing Smurfette? That's the whole gag.
Mm.
The gag is it's not what you want, what you thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be constantly Betty Boop for all of them because she's in her own comic. She doesn't have like a man. She had Felix the cat, I guess.
And this is kind of like bringing me back to a subject that you throw out pretty often on this podcast, is about like sharing other parts of your life with people. And like for you, all these characters, like they mean something to you. You have a history with them. Like for me, a lot of these characters that you're working with, they don't mean all that much to me. Some of them I don't even know who they are. If you're doing any of the anime stuff, like I don't even know who these characters are or what they mean. But like,
it's usually that's like meta level. That's for all the people,
but for all the people that do, that's why they dig what you're doing. And like when I tell my story about how art helped me get over drugs and alcohol, and like, you know, the mandala vibe, and that I tell the story about how the guy who had me create this one had me create it because he wants to meditate when he's trying to contact aliens, through his meditation to contact benevolent aliens and have them come help humanity achieve a better society or like a higher vibration.
So we have an alien right in the middle of it?
That's part of why I have the alien when I wear this shirt, yeah. And like that resonates with a lot of people, and it resonates with me. I've been into UFOs since I was a kid. It's a subject that fascinates me. The X-Files was like my favorite show, and this Bob Lazar guy that came out recently.
I had no idea.
About Area 51.
I had no idea you had colored shirts.
Fuck off. Bob Ross 3000 shirt, bro. That one's pretty colorful. So like, it kind of, and that's what's so hard now on social media, is to connect with those vibrations, those people who are into those other sub things that don't have to do with your art. It's hard to connect with them now.
Unless you actually partake in it.
Yeah.
We just gotta get off the ground.
With people in Montreal who I haven't met before.
And maybe put your art up again in the yoga studio and have that carry out, but on maybe
or on a downtown yoga studio or something, you know, instead of one that's let's face it, the yoga studio that I have my art in isn't exactly in the best location for foot traffic to walk by the front door. And they keep the front door closed half the time.
Thank you. Best joke.
But
when I was there and I kept opening it and someone kept closing it, I was like, who is doing that?
Yeah.
Trying to help this business here.
And it's the owner.
And it was the owner closing the door, bro. So bad. You're a new business in town. Nobody knows. You have to have the door open.
But it costs you money to run the air conditioning.
Yeah, you turn off the AC there. You want to make money, you turn off the AC and you wait. That guy. But he was gone, eh? He left.
I don't know. I don't know the situation. So at the end of the day, it's been a good place for my art to get in front of people that wouldn't see it otherwise. My walls here are pretty full, as you can see. So I had art leaning against art. So having it on a wall somewhere where people are seeing it is better than having it stacked on a pile in my own studio where no one's seeing it.
I guess your passion is being a salesman, and ironically mine is business. So like going downtown and meeting other people who have businesses is kind of my interest, and trying to see how I can help them.
Part of it for me is all my sales career was done on the phone or online. So that's just the way I do sales. There's lots of salespeople that are door-to-door sales guys or that are road reps and they drive around in a car and stuff like that. And I know I could do that kind of sales, but I need the car. So like, yeah, that's where we're at for that. So
But maybe
you know,
that's the-
I'll pay my debts back. I'm doing good paying my debts back actually. So you know, a few more months that'll be paid, and then I can start putting money towards rebuilding. And you know, I'd really like to invest in some more of your art actually. So I'm looking forward to that.
I appreciate that.
I mean,
I think I got a really. I should have brought you the first one, and where that wolf is now with different techniques and stuff. It's really looks a lot better.
well, like
I'm just trying out different techniques, you know, trying to make it look more professional or more like, I don't know if it's professional, but there's a look to it in the end. And it's
you're talking about painting on wood versus on canvas.
no using screens and masks
okay.
and spray paint and tools.
Mm-hmm.
Using tools because there's always been tools. I mean, the Mona Lisa was painted with a camera obscura,
Yo, you know,
which is a projector. Okay, so like anyone who thinks a projector is cheating, stop listening to that person and start using the tools of our generation. There's much more than a projector. A projector is old school.
I consider using a ruler cheating. If you're using a projector to paint mandala, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but let's say like in the situation.
I know your style's totally different.
No, but let's say in a situation where someone was like, Adam, I would really love for you to paint this specific mandala on the side of my house using spray paint. Now you're gonna be like, oh, okay, and you're gonna start and you're gonna waste fucking time.
No,
But instead of wasting time,
I'd say no. I don't do murals yet, and I wouldn't feel comfortable taking your money to do that, and I'd refer you to an artist. Like I've literally, like I've had people that
either way, the artist is gonna have to project it to stop wasting time.
I've
They're
had
gonna project it to get the line work, dude.
I've had artists, I've had clients ask me to paint things with like the Sri Yantra in it. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a Hindu or Buddhist pattern of like inverted triangles. Anyway, it's very, very symmetrical, and it's like a geometric, sacred geometry shape that anyone into sacred geometry is familiar with. So if I did it freehand and had it even slightly off, it would ruin the Sri Yantra.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no, I don't want to do that job because I don't do that kind of work, and I don't like working with tools. It's not the way I work. It would frustrate me, and it would feel like work because I'd be like using these things that I don't even own. I don't own a protractor. I don't own a geometry set. I'd have to go buy a geometry set just to do the fucking thing.
Yeah, but use the tools that work for you.
The tool that worked for me in that case was to refer that person to one of my favorite mandala artists who does work with geometry tools and who does render sacred geometry.
Don't be an ass. Don't be an ass live on Arty time because really the tool that you use is pre-mixed colors, which is new. That's a new phenomenon due to consumerism and our fucking society. So that's the cheating that Adam uses.
When I started painting,
it's the way of no way, dude. That's your way.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, and it helps, and that's one of the secrets.
Now,
I think we all have our secrets, and that's what I'm saying. We should use the tools
another
of our
thing
time.
that was cool though was like I referred this person to this other artist, and this person bought a painting from this other artist who I'm friends with and who I think is a really awesome dude. Unfortunately, he stopped painting.
Anybody did a charity yantra?
Yeah.
No, I honor and I respect the fact that you were like, fuck that, I don't do that style.
No, I've had people ask me to do portraits and landscapes. You know, like sometimes people think that any artist can do any art, and it's like, sorry, that's not the way it is.
And it comes back to
you want me to paint a portrait of your grandma? Well, sorry, I'm not a portrait artist. Have you ever seen me paint a portrait before? What makes you think I can paint a portrait and render it properly? Like,
it comes back to the 10,000 hour thing and the staying true to your style and having style and consistency.
But there's a lot of artists, especially when they're just beginning. If somebody throws them money to do something that they're not comfortable with, they'll take the money, they'll try and do it. It'll suck because they don't have any experience doing it, and then they'll get a bad feedback from their client, and then they'll get sad that they're not a good artist because their client didn't like them.
Yeah,
maybe
didn't
like their work.
You're better off just
just staying away from that headache. Don't take jobs from styles that you don't do. It's like if I'm an electrician, yep, I work in houses all day, but if somebody calls me and says, hey, we need plumbing done, it's like, well, I'm not a plumber, I'm an electrician. Yeah, I work right next to the plumber. I see what the plumber does, but I can't do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not a plumber. It's the same thing.
Hey.
What? It reconnected automatically?
Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
We're having a great day.
Yeah.
We're having a good Arty time too. You whine for a bit, but you came up with your solution. You're gonna go to vending spots and become more of a salesman.
Yeah.
And that's how you're gonna meet more people.
Mm-hmm.
And then be like-minded people.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the phones a little more. I'll be honest, I got offered some stuff at work where I can make more money, but I have to work more hours. And I'm probably gonna take advantage of it because it's a guaranteed thing. If I sit on the phone and make phone calls, like it's a guaranteed thing that I'll eventually find the script that works for me, but it's not guaranteed that I'll make money next week that I need to start paying my debts back and to pay my rent and all that. So right now I'm gonna go throw my I'm gonna go with the full sure thing for a little while. And in the meantime I'm feeling less pressure to make art. So like I'm making art that has a higher vibration because it's not coming from a place of need. It's coming from a place of want. It's coming like I want to share it. I don't need to share it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coming from a better.
I've been hiding the art, bro. I haven't been sharing most of my inks, mostly because of the whole book aspect and it sucks and I don't want to be online. So I used to share every single drawing I would make.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I would post it. Now I make them and I don't show them. Show them in stories, flash them here, flash them there, use them as tools. But I think it'll leave more of a punch later when I put them together.
Mm.
If they're not all on social media. If you can't just scroll through my feed, and if you could scroll through my feed and see them all, then you get them for free.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a hidden intent, y'all. A hidden intent where you support me and my inks on paper.
Well, you need to keep some for the,
for the punches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't you trade some for the doctor that does your child blood transfusions?
Child blood transfusion? How do you trade them? I got some Snoopy toys the other day.
Remember that whole episode in our last episode where we joked about you're a vampire and you get child blood transfusions?
Oh my god. Nope, I don't remember. But I did remember it was episode 18.
I remember.
And on that note,
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
On that note, we're gonna end here because I gotta get my blood transfusion.
Awesome. Arty time.
Arty on.
Arty on.
Excellent.
Peace.